My name is Ben Hauser, and I do have some slides and photos just to share with you guys. I'm taking something that I used for, I'm in the Rotary Club here in Minnesota. And so we do classification talks and stuff like that. But I'm just going to blast through some of these slides just to kind of show you a little bit more about me and where I came from. So my name is Ben Hauser, and the talk I gave was on perspectives, because I've lived pretty much half my life now here in the US and back in South Korea, which is where I was born. Does anybody know how to say hello in Korean? If not, I'm going to teach you. I taught all my Rotary members. Lane, did you unmute because you know how to say hello in Korean, or?
No, I do not.
Okay, I just saw that. Okay.
It's like kamsahamnida.
Yeah, thank you. So that's good. I don't know who said that, but so I tell my friends who went and visited me in Korea. I lived there about 13 years before I moved back here to the US in 2017. But all you have to say is onions on sale, and you slur these three words very quickly. Onions on sale, and you give a little bow like this. Onions on sale, and it sounds like 안녕하세요, which is the way they say hello. So if you guys want to just practice this, just say onions on sale. Let's do it one time. 1, 2, 3. Onions on sale. There you go. So most of my Korean friends, when I had my friends practice this, they were like, oh, they're saying hello. So anyways, it works. And if you go to Koreatown in New York, go ahead and try that. I was 7 when I was adopted, and I grew up in Rochester, New York. This is the home that I lived in. Yeah, here's just some photos of me when I came. After I came in '85, my parents adopted 2 younger kids who are biological to each other from South Korea as well. And I've got a great relationship with both my brothers, Aaron and Zach. In 2004, after working at Otis Elevator, after graduating from Clarkson University, I found this adoptee program to go back to Korea, meet other adoptees from around the world, learn a little bit more about Korean history and some culture and the language. And that's when I learned that from the Korean War, there were about 200,000 Korean adoptees that were basically sent to various countries around the world. I thought it was just the US, but France is the second largest country to bring adoptees or adopt Koreans, Korean kids. So I don't know if you can tell, but the people in this photo, there's people from the US, the Netherlands, Denmark, Poland, maybe, I forget, but a variety of different places. And it was really awesome to hear their stories about how they grew up as a Korean. I told my stories of growing up here in the US, and it was really just an eye-opening experience. And I thought I'd be there just for like, maybe a year or 2, but I ended up being there for 13. During that time, I was actually adopted as a baby as well. So from 1 to 5, this Korean family took care of me, and I was lucky enough to be able to meet with them again. So I remember my Korean mother here, she's on the right here, but then I remembered her as a baby. So it was really nice to reconnect with them and then find out that they have 4 other daughters, very accepting of me, and I still stay in contact. This guy here is my cousin, Daniel, who came and visited me a long time ago. But while I was living in Seoul, there are all kinds of more adoptees. So we would go out and hang out, and there'd be like 100, 150 of us from various countries. Manny, you might like this guy. His name was Stefano. He grew up in Italy, and it was just awesome to learn about him and where he came from, and avid soccer player and whatnot. So I studied some Korean because I completely forgot my Korean. And so I'm intermediate level right now, but I should have been probably more fluent, but all my Korean friends, they all spoke English. I had a Korean girlfriend. She was an English teacher, so she wanted to just speak English all the time. So my Korean is a pretty intermediate level. I was lucky enough to have my parents come visit all the time. We love to eat, just like Manny. Korean food is amazing. If you ever get to Seoul, get all kinds of side dishes and other kinds of things. My mother and my grandmother and my grandfather came. I don't know if you guys have been to the singing rooms in New York, but they enjoyed singing some songs together and eating and drinking. So that was really awesome, just to have a family here in the US that were so supportive of me going back. One of the lessons I learned about life was from my grandfather, Grandpa Jim. But basically, he said, no matter how old you get, never stop learning, because that was the one bit of knowledge he wanted to pass down to me when I was about 15 years old. Just other some photos of Korea and Seoul. It's a very modern city, but a lot of the traditional palaces and temples are still there. There are my brothers there, and my aunt came here, and my cousins. So I had a lot of visitors. Just a couple other photos of the stuff that you can see in Seoul. A lot of the temples that were way up in the mountains. I had no idea how like thousands of years ago, people like built stone steps and, you know, sculptures and stuff like that without using cranes and everything else. It was just awesome to see all of that. Back to food. This is a live octopus they put in the end of the seafood stew just to make sure that it's very fresh. There's raw fish and noodles and stuff like that. Awesome place to eat. Met my wife there. This is a place, an international district called Itaewon. That's where I lived for a while, and my wife was a pool shark. She was in the pool league there. And some of the things we did was also travel. So Thailand, Phuket was our favorite place. Got massages on the beach for $10 an hour. Ate, you know, 4 dishes, 2 beers, all $10. Got to see some animals at the zoo. I kind of feel bad that actually supported me hanging out with tigers like this. By the way, the guy who pushed me into that tiger only had 1 arm, so I don't know what happened to that other arm, but you can probably guess what happened. During that time, I helped start and operate an English Language Institute for elementary school kids. So it's basically the principal. We grew that business from 1 to 3 branches. And I really enjoyed teaching and hiring teachers from around the world, bringing them to Korea, giving that experience to live abroad and just become individuals themselves, which is awesome. So I did a little bit more of the kind of like the birth family kind of search stuff. This is apparently the orphanage that I was at. And then this is the home that I grew up in. So for me to just kind of go back, and I have some of these pictures just to remind myself of this time. It's very different than the kind of house that I'm living in. But at the time, you know, I was happy and I got to play in the streams, and it just humbles me from, you know, where it came from, and it's always a reminder. Now I'm in Northville, Minnesota. I have 2 boys, James and Ryan, and so Ryan is a year now, but so he's a little bit older and walking around, but doing that whole family thing now. It's awesome and challenging at the same time. And then for work, I work for Helix Intel. So a lot of you guys know what this is, but we're based out of Buffalo. To give you a quick overview of what we do, I like to start with this slide. So we're in the facilities management space, helping people to streamline their operations. But this is a photo we actually took. So we have an onboarding team that goes out to the sites and catalogs all their equipment, gets it all digitized into one space. But in one of the buildings, we found this, and basically they tracked the work history of their equipment on a wall. And this is like the maintenance team in 1966 as Burger quit. And then because of a bad storm in 68, they installed a new one. So that was then. And so now we're doing this modern version of this. So people still use pen and paper, Excel spreadsheets, and other software that's really expensive and very complicated and cumbersome to use. And so just to give you a quick overview of what we're doing, this is just an example of an account that we have for our users, but we help our users. Oh no, I got logged out. But basically we help to track, we track building assets and equipment all in one place. And then if for some reason their internal technicians can't get that work done, then we have a vetted network of vendors, both on a national level and local level, that will go and do that work. And then all that information and communication between all internal members and vendors and invoices and all that equipment data, serial numbers, manufacturers numbers, we centralize all that data and make it very easy to find it when you need it. And what makes us very, very unique is that our business model is focused really on the manufacturers of that building equipment. If you're the US government or you're a company like Amazon, when they sell you the equipment, they're gonna spend a lot of time to follow up. How's everything going? Is everything okay? Giving you the latest updates on how to maintain it and whatnot. The bottom 70%, they just don't have a method to cost effectively help out the 70%. So when they learned about what we're doing, we were basically reconnecting these manufacturers to their equipment by using Helix Intel, because we're helping people who own the equipment to catalog it all in one spot. And so because of that, those manufacturers pay us to be reconnected. So this software, this isn't the best demo. I got logged out, but basically everything here to catalog this stuff is completely free for the end user. Now, if they're short-staffed and they're like, I want to catalog this stuff, I've got 10 locations and I've got 5,000 pieces of equipment, I can't get it all done. They can hire us to send the manpower to go out there and upload that equipment for them, do the training, and then also add the human element to bring the latest industry insights, what the manufacturers are recommending to help people to be a bit more proactive in taking care of their equipment. So we've already saved one company $33,000 on a rebate because we did an energy calculation on an old piece of equipment versus a new one. We saved somebody 81% on a lighting project because they were just going to Lowe's. They had no idea there were rebates that were attached to these lights. And then we have other methods of bringing the original manufacturers, evaluating contracts where you think it looks cheaper on paper, but then it's really not. And then we've saved people 40% on that. Also power procurement and water conservation. We're really excited about our next phase. So not only can we catalog and track that equipment, but monitor all that equipment with IoT sensors, very economic IoT sensors that will tell you when something is broken or something is going to break, like water pipes, by measuring pressure or vibration. And so you can get out there and fix that issue before there's a major catastrophe at that site. So with that said, that's Helix Intel. And like I said, we're really excited. We've got some great partners from the largest reinsurer of building equipment on the planet, Hartford Steam Boilers, that's owned by Munich Re. Chubb is also a very large company. They're part of that network, and they want us to go to all of their clients and to use Helix Intel. So a lot is going on. Really excited for what we're doing. So I apologize that I haven't been going to those Thursday meetings with kids and Helix Intel, but a lot's going on right now. We just officially announced that we closed our seed round, raised $4 million, and then we're already moving on towards the Series A very quickly. So thank you very much. And so with that said, that's me in a nutshell. This is my family now, trying to take care of our older parents here. And then lastly, just a couple overall musings. A lot of respect for elders and family care in Korea. They say a lot more we versus I over there. They talk about the Seoul as being like the future society, and people from San Francisco going over there. The internet speeds are amazing over there. Infrastructure and transportation is awesome. And then instead of when you meet somebody new, they don't ask you like, what do you do for a job? They ask you, "밥 먹으세요?" which means have you eaten? Because that's part of the culture. Because it's like people want to feed others to show love and concern. So I thought I'd share that. And then lastly, as my grandfather said, keep being open-minded, keep learning, meet some awesome people, and kill it. So that's me. Thank you very much.